Okay, yeah. Who's the other person that
Sonny Crockett's from Miami Vice.
He's been pushing it a lot like crazy. Started with him. But and it's just mathematically false. And the beauty of social media, of course, is they just go, no, per capita this, and even without per capita that. And I think Zoomers can just see that immediately corrected and go, wow, they've been lying to not just me, but to each other for decades. What a bunch
social
of
media is putting out information now where, all right, sensible, reasonable, halfway intelligent people have known this for a while anyway. But social media is so prevalent now, and it spells things out in pretty good detail and offers up the proof, the receipts, if you will. And a segment of the idiots, to the left of the smart people, when you start getting into the idiots, a segment of those people are starting to see like, oh, but they said this, and what I'm seeing is this. So it's spreading the truth to people that normally would never see it and would just go off of what they heard from their fellow idiots.
Yeah. And it took us, I'm guilty of this. Like, I believe things. There was this whole thing when I was a kid that we were told in the 70s, what was the name of that boat? The Whitechapel, the Wonderwall, there was a type of boat, this big cruise ship that was bringing in Caribbean people to Britain from 48 to 71. And Whitechapel? And we were told that we had a labor shortage, and they came here, and they filled in the gaps, and they saved London from this post-World War II labor shortage. And it's all a lie. And I'm embarrassed to admit I got this last week from some blonde 20-year-old on TikTok who was in Britain. Now, I did verify it, but yeah, total Windrush was the name of the boat. Total fabrication. They Windrush, the boat itself, the cruise ship itself, pushed that lie to get more Caribbeans on. They were unqualified nurses who were having their own troubles, so Britain invited them up there to train them to be nurses and sent them back. But like, I would have still gone with the fucking first thing my whole life. Like, when you think about what we've learned about lynchings and slavery and the Native Americans and sexism and abortion and all this, I think I've learned all the truth about that in the last 5 to 10 years.
Right. Yes. What a great observation. Yes. In the past 5 or 10 years, me too. My education on all of these agenda-driven things kind of have been, I didn't know shit. I knew what they told me. I assumed it was the truth. Now I know it isn't. And you try to garner from wherever you can the actual truth.
It's amazing. Like, I remember arguing with Dante Nero. Dude, we were driving to your house when you lived on Long Island.
Party.
And we were in the car, and I was like, he's like, what about the light bulb? They invented the light bulb. And I'm like, okay, he invented the light bulb. That's just one thing, though, and it's not a pattern. And meanwhile, they didn't invent the light bulb. The guy patented a filament. And then he goes, well, they burned down Black Wall Street. He's a very left-wing black dude. And I'm like, well, that was a long time ago. You got to get over it. And I wish I knew. And this is when Dante was at your house. So that's like 8 years ago or something. And I was like defending burning down Black Wall Street, going, well, it wasn't great, and if only I had known. That was a race riot started by blacks.
By blacks. There was no Black Wall Street.
There was no Black Wall Street.
Stockbrokers, and it was like a strip of stores or retail businesses.
You know what it was? We have it here in the South Bronx, and they asked me to join. It's like we have a dentist place next door. The local businesses get together, and then when they want the pothole fixed, it's not just the dentist asking. It's every store on this block. And it's called like I won't say the name of our street, but say the 145th Street Coalition of Businesses. That's what it was in Toledo, wherever it was. Tulsa.
We was trading on the NASDAQ.
Really? How much was the yen? Because I've got a lot of yen from my business trip. Should I trade them back by the bull in Wall Street, or should I go over to you guys? Who's got the best exchange rate?
It's all such nonsense. Who's the guy that he every day he's doing one of these fallacies for Black History?
John Doyle?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, what are we now? We're February 25th. He's done 25.
Yeah.
And they're not like Harriet Tubman was actually a lesbian or Harriet Tubman freed a third of the slaves.
Right.
You think he's like, this didn't exist. Like Harriet Tubman is a complete myth. I didn't know that either, by the way. Speaking of new news, I thought she was cool. I thought they got her wrong because she loved guns and they don't like to picture her with guns. No, she didn't free shit. She may have escaped. That's it. There was she was no Braveheart rounding up the slave troops to get him out of here.
Total Underground Railroad. There she was, crouched down in the bushes by a plantation, running by, grabbing a slave and walking him down the Underground Railroad. It's all
total, and it's black failure, white guilt all over again.
Yeah. The white people felt that, they had to include this in the history books. This was in books. Like I went to school in history class. You learn about Harriet Tubman and the Underground Railroad. And that was what you knew. That was it. And then you, like you said, in the past few years, you realize, that was it too.
And it's fags too with Matthew Shepard. He was murdered by homophobes. And he had a meth deal that went bad, and the other gay meth heads killed him because they were
that was a drug deal.
Or even what's it? Stonewall, Whitestone, down in
Stonewall
in the city. They've got a big. They're building a statue of a trans revolutionary, like fighting with the cops. First of all, there was no trans there. Trans wasn't really a thing back in whatever it was, 69. And the cops weren't there to go give some homos the wood shampoo. The socialist mayor at the time, probably LaGuardia, I don't know. He said, there's too much illegal booze in these bars. I want you to crack down on illegal booze. The were already sort of living underground, so it was more likely to find illegal booze there, booze that wasn't registered with the state, than at some sports bar in Times Square. So they started with the bars and they got into a big fight. There wasn't a homophobic riot.
Right.
Just like Tulsa, it was I guess you'd call it a sex riot, a sexuality riot that was started by the gays.
Yeah, they always leave out the parts about what they were doing and why the cops were there, or why whites showed up with guns because blacks had shown up with guns and murdered white people. That's how the whole started with the Black Wall Street. And they leave that out and just talk about how awesome they were and how Whitey came in there and just things up. That's every story, by the way, of these horrible black martyrs. There was recently a mother of a black guy that was on social media, and she's crying that her baby was murdered by police. They laid him down the ground. He was on the ground, and they shot him in the head while his hands were behind his back. And of course, I'm like, all right, let me look into this for 5 minutes. He was on parole for previous gun crime. He was on a bicycle. The cop is chasing him. You see the dash cam video. He ditches the bike to run. The guy sets the dog after him, and it's beautiful. The dog just grabs him, puts him right on the front. 2 cops get him, put him on his belly. They're trying to get his hands behind his back. He's like this, reaching. They roll him over to get his hands, and he's got a gun in his waistband, and he's grabbing for it.
Oh, is that all?
So the cop goes, gun, and they shoot him. There you go. Not just my poor baby was executed by 2 racist cops. Of course, every one of their martyrs have a similar story.
Matt Walsh has a show coming out. I forget what it's on. I guess Daily Wire, but I saw it listed on IMDb, so it must have major distribution. But he's just going through all of these.
Yeah, good.
Smallpox. You know what smallpox was? That was some lieutenant saying to his captain, hey, what do you think about we put smallpox on blankets and then give it to the Indians and they get sick? And his boss goes, I feel like we'll get the smallpox if we start messing with smallpox.
What about that?
So they scrapped that idea. It was just it was a crazy idea one guy came up with, or the 40 acres and a mule. Even that was some other Confederate or whatever Yankee saying, "Well, you know what they should get? They should each get 40 acres and a mule." And someone went, "Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying." There was no document that said you're getting 40 acres and a mule.
Guaranteeing.
It was someone just farted it out as an idea on a prehistoric podcast, and it became the law in everyone's mind. That's the name of Spike Lee's production company, 40 Acres.
Yeah, 40 acres and a mule or some 40 acres. You know, I bring that, I try to bring that up to people whenever they bring up that stupid anthrax thing. It's like, what did you think? They had these laboratory suits that they wear, biohazard
They get
suits.
deloused on the way in.
Yeah. And these old Western blankets are put in this thing. You put your hands in the gloves and you're mixing and putting. How they think they were distributing anthrax blankets without getting fucking anthrax?
They're smallpox. They're
smallpox.
Yeah, they're Darth Vader breathing through these pine cone masks as they make these super blankets.
It's so ridiculous.
Already come the on, dude.
Yeah, you'd get it. There was no way to not get it. They're so stupid. They believe that. They believe.
But
the poor engines.
That, you know, public school robbed us of our common sense.
Yeah.
Because, you know, today, after we've learned a million myths, we go, lynching, huh? So they just were like, there's a fucking nigger, boys. And they just grabbed some like poor little 13-year-old boy that was skipping stones after a hard day fishing. And they just hung him by a tree.
Yeah.
How many times can you do that before people, like especially women, going, what you doing now? That seems a little harsh. That boy was just fishing now.
Yeah. Or till you run out. Like if you're just arbitrarily hanging black people in your community, eventually you're just going to run out.
Yeah.
And, you know,
there wasn't that many. And and you've said this too about police violence. If they just hunt blacks for sport, there'd be like 3 nights of sitting on rooftops.
There you go.
They're gone.
Oh, well, all gone. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make common sense. But like you said, you know, and imagine that was when we were in school. Imagine now with that, because the
Different
teachers
world.
didn't seem to have a vested interest in our minds up. It was the curriculum, the books. God knows who, you know, who came up with those ideas. I have my suspicions. But, you know, the teachers themselves weren't like, yeah, conservative, don't say the Pledge of Allegiance today, America. They seem like regular, real American teachers.
They were incurious and lazy too. Even the whole women get paid less than men. And you'd go, well, all you have to do is sit in a chair and go, hold on a second. Wouldn't businesses want to hire women because they're such cheap labor?
Right.
75 cents on the dollar. A person's net is usually 25%. Now you saved another quarter on the dollar. Your net just went up another 20. You just doubled your net. That's great, boys. Let's party. Cheap labor.
That question really boggles feminists.
Yeah.
When you say if women are just as qualified as men and are getting paid less, because that's their whole thing, just as qualified as men, yet we get paid less than men do, then what smart businessman wouldn't just hire women? It would be the most brilliant financial move you can make. And they sit there and they're like,
because they're sexist. Like this whole thing is predicated on Boss Hogg, who is denying himself incredibly talented black people, incredibly cheap and talented women, just because you don't want them round.
Right. Cut off your nose to spite your face. Yeah, I could get it cheaper, but I ain't going to be in no company where women is doing the work.
Get a different office then. Have your office be off with its own door, like Howard Stern. It's got its own elevator. You don't see anyone. Then you can have those cheap women and those incredibly talented blacks working away on the other side of the cinder blocks. You don't have to see them.
I'd still smell them. I'd smell them. I'd know they're the.
I don't want them getting rewarded. They don't deserve it. It's just my boys, the good old boys, the old boys
good
club.
Old boys.
Yeah.
Gavin, I am going to be in New York. Unfortunately, schedule does not give me the ability to do your cop show on Friday.
Yeah.
I'm flying in late, and I have pre-planned events for Friday.
Well, you mentioned them on Monday. You're going to see Stuttering John, which is fantastic. Can't wait to hear about that.
The Stuttering John Melendez show at Rodney's in New York City. Everyone is coming to this thing. It turned out it started like, I didn't even know I was going to be in New York that day. So I was like, I'm coming in for do my show Sunday and a doctor's appointment on Monday. So I'm like, I'll fly in on Friday, spend the weekend seeing family and friends and stuff. And then I hear that John's going to be there. So I go and I'm like, I'm going to go. I'm going to go. I want to see Gino. I haven't had a drink with Gino in some time. He's on the bill. And then everyone started going, well, if Anthony's going, so Mikey Cuffs and Mikey Poker say they're going. Then the Chicago guys, our buddies that come to all our shows.
Yeah.
Two guys from Chicago, Rocky and his buddy there. They're coming down. Dr. Steve, I just got going to try to make it down. Kevin Brennan, Bob Levy. This is going to be a huge thing. And that dummy Stuttering John is going to have to get up on stage and do his 30-year-old unfunny act in front of some of the harshest critics out there. So it should be a really good time.
Oh, that's going to be great. He's turned into Scary Perry, where he's the joke, and he's more popular as a joke than he's ever been. I guess that was always the case. He wasn't on Howard Stern for his perfect and unmitigated wit.
No, not at all. He doesn't understand. Like he says, well, why do people watch me then? Why do they watch me? It's like they watched The Village Idiot in the oldie times. You didn't want to sit and have a conversation about the king with the Village Idiot. You wanted to see him smashing a stick over his head, sitting on a wall. That was entertaining. He doesn't understand. He is truly the Village Idiot.
That's great, man. I hope will there be video footage of it? I'm too lazy to go check it out.
I don't know. I'm from the school of thought. I don't want to interfere with anything. I don't want to.
Right. No. Let him cook.
Heckling or video that's not supposed to be videoed. I think it's good enough that we are there. We get to see the inimitable comedy stylings of Stut Joe Melendez and have a great time having drinks with people I haven't seen in quite some time. People that I don't get along with and people that I adore.
Well, you're out of the Kevin Brennan business, if I recall.
I'm out of the Kevin Brennan business, but I've never been like guy. I can't stand him. Right. I find Kevin funny. I'll sit down and have a drink with him. I'm fine with that.
Just not in business.
Yeah, Levy.
Anymore.
I love Bob Levy. The guy, Matt Mead, my friend that Stuttering John was trying to white knight his ex-girlfriend, trying to fuck her. And he's saying there's some story that Matt Mead had taken this girl Scarlett's hat away from her. It was very sentimental to her and took the hat. And she had told Stuttering John this. And Stuttering John gets on his show and he's being a tough guy. He's like, Matt, give the girl back her hat.
Whoa.
Like he's serious. And then he's like, this guy sounds like a fucking asshole. I believe Scarlett. And he goes, why don't you mess with someone a little bigger than a girl, Matt? Why don't you mess with me? You mess with the bull, you get the horns. And he's saying all this shit. He doesn't know who Matt is.
Right.
Now, I know Matt. Matt is a problem. Matt's a big guy. He's not like overtly violent, but you look at him and you're not going to around with this guy. So the next day when he found out what was going on and who Matt is, he's like, what? I don't even know this guy. I don't have a beef with him. I don't want to fight him. It's like, guy. Well, no, that doesn't matter anymore. If he wants to kick your ass, you can now just say you don't have a beef. You already tried to white knight his girlfriend by talking him. The worst thing, it's the most scumbag move you can make.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
a guy.
of course.
So it's not in your court anymore whether you get into a brawl with this guy. You can't just go, I don't know him. I don't want to fight. You already initiated it. So he's not going to do anything, but he'll be down there.
Oh,
and
wow.
John's going to have to look at him.
Does this
So
guy
it's going
who
to be
booked
fun
it,
night.
does the guy who booked it know that what he booked? Or does he think I just booked this old, like, Stern guy?
Initially, he just booked the old Stern guy. But I think Gino's been telling him, what this is. And, the biggest thing is I don't want people worrying. I don't want people getting banned from the club because John's done that before. He did it at a club in Jersey where Brennan showed up and there was a note and a picture at the door that don't let this guy in. So, but here's the thing. If he makes it so I can't get in, that's a load of people that won't go in.
Yeah.
And that are going to get a refund and go elsewhere that night. And I can't imagine the club owner is going to be very happy to have to pay this unfunny comic. And we're responsible, I guarantee, more than a quarter of the bar sales will be my group.
Oh, yeah.
Of people. Sure. We drink. We're perfect.
I assume no one else is going.
Club.
Who the else is there to see him dabble?
No one.
No one.
No one. It's all Dabbleverse people. So he kicks one out, he kicks all out, and then he's got a problem with the club owner. And that's not a good look if your only means of income now is scamming club owners into thinking you're a comic. So if you enjoyed that clip,
then subscribe to Compound Censored using this promo code.